I hope you did your homework. So, Mary's mom started babysitting for Don's mom and dad when Mary was 4 and Don was 4. Jeannie wasn't born yet. 2 years later, Mary's mom went into a psych ward. During that time, Jeannie would have been born. When she got out, Don's mom and dad got back together, probably because, there was a baby born in the psych ward. I don't know. Then when Don was 12, he moved in with his dad and his stepmother. My opinion is that was one fucked up household. I mean, fucked up from top to bottom. And what gets me is how people look at all this fuckery and expect normal in any way, shape, or form. How would you expect any child? I'm talking about Jeannie, Mary, Don. I don't know about his sisters and brothers that lived with his mom. But Jeannie's mother I don't believe she had dementia as a teenager. I don't even think that's possible. Maybe. But dementia, that's a pretty early onset. Maybe. And most of the stuff that Mary says, Mary is told by someone. Mary is told by her mother, or Jeannie, or Trish, or her daughter Amanda, because she doesn't witness anything. I don't know what happened exactly between Jeannie and Don. It's not even the point. It's that Summer went missing, and Jeannie comes out of nowhere and starts talking about when Don was a kid, and she was a kid, and that Don was molesting her. Okay, Jeannie was molesting a 12-year-old. And the 12-year-old was also molesting Jeannie. So she would have been 15, I think. And then she was pregnant with her first child when this cousin of hers was 13. And then she had another child when this kid was, can you correct me if I'm wrong, I think the kid was 16 and she was 19. Either way, at that point, someone in her household should have said, that's probably not a good idea to be screwing your 12-year-old cousin, your 13-year-old cousin, your 14-year-old cousin. She gets pregnant twice, and nobody says anything. And they're calling Don's family fucked up, and Don fucked up, and Candace fucked up. Excuse me. Y'all are all fucked up. All of you. And you know what? There's still a little girl missing. Summer is still missing. So none of this makes a fuck. You're all dysfunctional, every last one of you. A lot of it has to do with drugs. A lot of it has to do with mental illness. Because I see a shit ton of mental illness in this family. Every fucking body. It seemed to me like Don and Candace, or Don especially, just tried to get the hell out of there. And them saying that it went on for 7 years. Don was gone by 17 years old because he went to jail. And he was gone until he was 19. So anyway, here we go. Have fun.
But my mom actually went into the psych ward in Provo when I was, oh my gosh, how old was I? I believe I was about 6 years old. And she was in there for 2 years, okay? And then when she got out, Donnie's dad and her got back together.
At this point, you're 5.
And it happens to be Don's stepsister. And she told me, for over 3 hours we talked one night. And she told me she was 5 when she was first assaulted. And it ended when she was 12. There was a 7-year difference.
This happened around, he was about 15 years old. Well, at 15 years old, my sister was only 7 years old. And I just want everybody to know the truth, And so I'm trying to get it out there, because there's a lot of people that, I don't know, they go online and they put us down and they put my family down, and you know, my mom, dad, and everything has been brought into this, and it's just.
She was approximately 4 to 5 years old. So that would be about the same time you were 13 then?
Right, yeah. Because Jeannie is 7 years younger than I am, so yeah. So that would make probably about 11 years old when the abuse started between her and Donnie.
So there came a time when you were, I think, 12, right? Where he was given an ultimatum to leave, and pretty much that was what happened. Am I? And correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
When did it end?
Oh, okay. Well, that's when it ended, because after that, I think just because I told, he stopped doing stuff to me after that.
For her, the abuse started when she was 4 and went on until she was 10, and it only stopped then because he went to prison the first time.
She was 5.
In 1977, they bought the house in Roy City, according to Mary and Jeannie. But remember, Jeannie told Mary this. Mary never knew anything until Jeannie told her like 3 years ago. Okay, Jeannie was born in January 1971. Don was born the end of November 1964. They bought the house in 1977. I had to do the math again. June of 1977. That would mean that Don was 12 and a half and Jeannie was 7 and a half. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's pretty evil going to wait for somebody 40 years just for when they was playing house or whatever, and she didn't have no problem playing house, you know, and now all of a sudden 40 years later she's going to say I did all kind of stuff to my kids.
I just wish,
because she don't give a fuck.
I just wish that they could.
So now I got 4 kids that's going to be in foster care. That's if you can find Summer.
Yeah.
But in her evil little mind, apparently I done something to my own daughter and everybody else in the damn world. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Man, we were kids, man. Kids do stuff like that. What's wrong with her? She's trying to make it like I'm some kind of evil person that does this to everybody I know and stuff like that. That's bullshit.
Well, let me ask you a question. How long did you guys mess around together?
Only when we had that motorcycle, the only thing I remember about, she was willing. We played house, Mary.
Yeah.
She stuck her hand down my pants first.
Right.
First time.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I swear on stack of Bibles to that. She's the one that initiated the whole thing. It was her.
I wish I was there, Donnie.
And where she learned it from or whatever, I don't know, but I even remember the exact word. Well, I've seen my brother's, can I see yours? And that was her exact words. And she's the one who initiated it. Where she learned it from, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I thought it was odd at the time, but I was a little kid too, man. She ain't the only innocent one in this game. I was innocent too. She was never hurt in any way. We played a little bit of house touchy-feely shit. That's all it ever was.
Yeah, I don't know, Donnie. I wasn't there. Me and you and Chris and Nick Frias when that happened, when they attacked me.
When I saved you, they meant to probably you or something.
Well, I was scared for my life,
go ahead and tell
Donnie.
them. Yeah, and I stopped them, but you go ahead and tell them. Yeah, I done a good thing, and you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Man, this is old bullshit, man. Y'all need to stop.
It is old, Donnie. It's very old. From way
And
back
it's really
when.
getting real old.
Yeah.
Y'all trying to get open up, and then I saved your ass, you know, and y'all making big deals about this crap.
I just wanted to call you and let you know, okay?
And when I tell the judge that she initiated it all, I don't know where she learned it from or what. Yeah, I should have been smart enough to say no, but I was a kid too.
Yep.
Didn't know no better.
Well, she was a kid too, Donnie, you know, so
Yeah, and she should leave it there. That's what she should do, is leave it there. Stop all this crap, man. She really fucking give a f about anything. And if she cared about Summer, she'd care about her dad.
Yeah.
Because Summer loves me, man. Y'all don't understand. Everybody thinks oh, poor Summer, poor Summer. Well, Summer loves her fucking daddy. Her, man, let her go press her fucking charges, whatever. I was a fucking teenager. I was underage. She's full of shit.
Yeah.
She's a fucking snake in the grass. She's a fucking evil. Until I said that too. She don't give a f about Summer, or she tried to him. I mean, he was just smart enough to walk away from the dumb.
And you don't think he said that because of his Alzheimer's?
No, I got it on recording. He told me the whole thing. I know it's true. It's just the only thing is.
he did try to sell little Donnie. I was there that day. I mean, that's what
that's not speculation. That's fact.
No, that's not a fact. A fact would be had someone actually seen Don trying to sell his kids or trade his kids or whatever. Pam, who is not stable and has never been stable, which was Don's wife and the mother of his two children, Margie and Donnie, just said it. She ran in the house and just said it. That's not a fact.
He actually tried selling both the kids, and but the one really stuck out in my mind of little Donnie when he was about 2 years old, because I was there that night with Jeannie too, and I just remember his ex-wife coming in the door with little Donnie and Margie, you know, and she was crying up a storm, and you know, it was like 11, 12 o'clock at night, and she said she had just had to pick little Donnie up because Donnie took him to go sell drugs on 25th Street, and that's where she found him. And she was all upset, you know.
Okay, so Margie is 32. She was born in 1990. Donnie is 36. Donnie is 36. He was born in 1986. So that means he is 4 years older than Margie. So how could he have been 2 and Margie be there as well? Make that make sense.
Oh, you just...
Well, my boss's wife. See, look at the way Jeannie believes. Jeannie believes that we done something with our daughter.
Right.
Because of the bullshit that's on YouTube.
Right.
And what Chris McDonough is saying and everything else.
What a fucking asshole. He's got the father of a missing child that he professes to be helping, and he has this mugshot. And he's congratulating himself for ruining whatever reputation. It doesn't even matter. Why is this how you're looking for a child? A missing child?
And that did happen. It was 100% it happened. I was at my grandparents' after it happened. And so his wife and the 2 kids and him came to my grandparents' house, and he said his wife was telling my grandma that he was on something, that Don was on something, and he gave the 2 kids to his drug dealer or someone. And she said, luckily she stepped in and grabbed them and brought them home. And the worst part about it, I feel like, is the fact that both of the kids they just acted like it was normal. Like, oh yeah, that happened, so what, no big deal. I mean, we were young. But...
So Trish was born in 1988. So she's 2 years older than Donnie. So she would have been 4 when she made all these observations at her grandma's house after the fact. And she remembers Don saying, I don't know who said, he gave his children, which one wasn't born yet, to drug dealers. Okay? Okay.
We're only about a month apart. Yeah.
Okay, so you were both kind of in that 13 range. Okay. And Jeannie comes up when Summer went missing and reveals what?
That Donnie had been sexually assaulting her.
Essaying her, and it started at the age of 5, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And so your family was kind of thrown another curveball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so what?
I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, everything was always just swept under the rug. Anytime anything happened like that or anything, it was just always swept under the rug. And I think my mom was just raised that way, you know? So, I mean, you know, I hold on a sec. He was always, you know, cruel to animals and stuff when we were growing up. He used to take firecrackers and tie them to our little poodle's tail and light them, you know. And then also, you know, there was one time that I caught him in the bedroom with her, you know, which was not a good situation, you know. And it's just
with the cat.
No, with our dog.
Okay, I don't want to. We don't need to know, but
yeah,
I'm with you.
You guys don't want to know about that, but I mean, I brought it out once, but that was a while ago. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awful. That's just absolutely horrible. Absolutely 100% horrible. You know, and so far as rehabilitation.
I'm sorry. I don't believe the dog story. Mary had said previously that Don was having sex with a poodle. I don't believe that. I don't believe that's what Mary saw. And if she did, who did she tell? That's the whole thing with all of this. Don's selling his kids. He's giving his kids away. One wasn't even born yet, but he's giving his kids away, and no one calls the police. No one calls CPS. What the fuck?
I think I might be going on there too, so just to let everybody know. So yeah.
Is that gonna be Jeannie too?
No. They just asked if I wanted to go on, so
She started dating her cousin, which was about 12 years old at that time, and ever since then, she just wanted me out of the picture. Ever since then. And it started all this hateful stuff ever since then.
And how old were you?
I don't know, maybe 15, I don't know.
And how old was she?
I don't know. She was a lot younger than me, and I thought this, and I remember thinking this, why would, I didn't think it was right. I was too young to understand how girls are too.
Walk me through that. When you say you didn't think it was right, what were you guys?
Well, because she was younger. Because she was younger. No, she would play with my thing, and I would play with hers. That's about it.
Okay. And how long did that go on?
I don't know. For a little while or whatever, but when everything changed.
And who's Ronnie?
She ended up marrying him and having kids. That's her cousin.
And what about this other person you mentioned, Tish? What's her name?
Her daughter's name was Trish, and the last time I seen her, she was just a little girl. And then
my thing is, why wouldn't Don just deny it? Just say it didn't happen, prove it. He's never said that. From the very first phone call, he admitted to Chris what happened. And Chris just keeps badgering him like he's going to get a different answer. And why? Please explain to me why Jeannie gets a pass. She was pregnant twice. Easily provable. Why do women get a pass? It's like no big deal. Don's son went to prison for doing the same exact thing Jeannie did.
I just wanted to let you know that I talked to Jeannie last night, and she told me that she was going to press charges against you, Donnie. So, so I wanted to let you know. Yeah. And that friend of hers, I guess she's going to be with her. She's pressing charges too.
Yeah. Why? Sorry, there's just a little dip here.
So, the father of a missing child goes to YouTube, the true crime community, and an ex-cop does this. And his sidekick, no one else will have Chris on. Linda from Crimes, what was the name of her show? Everybody knows who Linda is. She had him on. Trisha from Web Sleuths would have him on. No one reputable will have Chris on except Nancy Grace, which is a huge mystery to me. Well, not really, but this is what they do to him. And then people are surprised at how fucking mad he gets and starts drinking and doing drugs again. No one knew these people before Summer went missing. It's unbelievable to me how she's a human being. Summer is out there somewhere, either dead or alive. She's still out there somewhere.
Did your dad talk to Jeannie about it?
No, they're not talking, because when this all started out and Trish came out and, went live and then Jeannie came out with her stuff and everything, and my dad it's too much for him to handle. And his first reaction was like, he called me and he's like, you need to call Jeannie and Trish and tell them that they're kicked out of the family. 7-year-old does not have the ability to consent to a sexual arrangement.
And yet, your brother-in-law, Ron, was 12. Why was he able to consent?
Did your mom ever speak about this until now, or was it just now that this happened that she told people? I know they had said she had told family when it happened, but was it never discussed again, and then it came to the forefront again? Or?
So when she was younger, she told her mom, and my grandma believed her and talked to my grandpa, and my grandpa said something along the lines of, "What did he do? Touch your boob?" And I don't know 100%, but I know for me, when some stuff, things happened to me when I was like 4 or 5, and I told, and the only person that believed me was my mom, and so I never told anybody anything that happened to me ever again, because no one believed me and nothing was done, so what's the point?
So another one. Just got by with it. And for everyone that touched Trish, Jeannie, Mary, they all got by with it. Margie, 3 of them. These men, or young boys, or however old they were, just went about their life. Probably, for every one, they probably molested 20 children. All of this, Trish's, Jeannie did nothing. After what Jeannie went through, the trauma, she did nothing. Why?
We didn't know that he even had a daughter.
They have 5?
Yeah, it's my understanding that, and I'm not 100% sure, but it's my understanding that they had one after summer and gave her up for adoption. That's what I've been told by my grandma.
Okay.
That's what crazy grandma said. Grandma just sits around thinking up shit to say. Don probably could not get far enough away from these people.
I don't wonder if maybe Candace and Hunter were doing something in the woods, and Summer went swimming and she drowned or something.
Because Mary knows Hunter, a minor, so well she can speak on him. Unbelievable.
At 5 years old, you don't have the emotional capability to process the trauma that's taking place.
No, definitely not.
And so the abuser, typically will measure that and take advantage of that through control mechanisms. Did he ever hold you down or physically, try, or were you just so scared that you couldn't move? Mm-hmm.
You mean during the first game?
Yes.
He didn't really hold me down or anything like that. He was kind of forceful in the fact that it was going to happen.
Sure.
But as far as that, no.
Because Dawn, at 12 and a half, 13, 14, however old, was a mastermind. A mastermind predator. Fuck me.
Okay. Now, so you turned 6. Walk us through that year.
So, when I was about 6, well, it was more 6 to 7 is when he started the more aggressive abuse. Coming into my room.
And he's 13 at this point.
Yeah, 13, 14.
And this is the time also that Mary reports that he and 2 other boys tried to physically rape her. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And they actually wanted to file charges on him, but your stepdad kind of pulled that back. Is that correct?
Yeah. She actually filed charges. She went and did a statement. But my dad, made her go drop the charges.
Okay.
Tell me this isn't weird. Did he hold you down? What did he do? Really? Really?
You're the daughter of the year, too, by the way. That he had you sit on his lap and touched you potentially on the outside of your clothing. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, he always was making me sit on his lap all the time. And my grandpa, he would get out of prison, and my grandpa would make me hug him. And
the following was put on a PowerPoint by Chris McDonough. A perspective from his family. Don's niece, Trish Nelson, reported that Don had sexually assaulted her as a child for years. Also, Trish, I think it was on Facebook, actually said that Don raped her, and then she deleted it. Daughter of the year.
Just going to do a quick math calculation here. It's just 200 days a year, which I know it's more because you said it lasted for almost 7 years. If I just did 200 nights a year, that is over 2,400 times you were brutalized. Now,
yeah.
that's just at 200 evenings. Okay? Folks, this is what we're talking about. And Don comes out and says, well, you know, I'm sorry for that. Well, the way I'm looking at this, okay, is that doesn't calculate correctly. So I'd like to see 2,400 times. 2,400 times. I think I said 1,400. 2,400 times. Okay?
So first of all, if it started when she was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, she would have been 12, and Don would have been, I don't know. Don wouldn't have been there. 2,400 times a child was being brutalized. 2,400 times. And no one said anything. No one knew anything. There were like 6 kids in that house. 2 bedrooms. 1 for the boys, 1 for the girls. And no one saw this. Okay. All right.
I would like to see an abuser of children to man up. And now he called your dad, I heard. Is that correct?
That's what I heard from other family members, yes.
And he fully confessed about brutalizing you, didn't he?
Yes.
To your dad.
Yeah.
But not to you.
Not to me.
I'm sorry, what? He didn't confess to you what you already knew? He apologized to you, but he called your dad and said, yeah, I brutalized Jeannie? Okay.
Behavior. So I started in the beginning and wanted to know about Summer and the family dynamics. And there you were. First Trish, the superhero daughter, and survivor.
What?
How do you start with a family he only lived with 13, 14, 15, like 3 years? You didn't go to Sonia. You didn't go to his son and daughter. You went straight to these liars. I'm not saying nothing happened to Jeannie, but she's lying about a lot. And so is Mary. And doing this to Summer, that's who they're doing this to. So is Chris, hugely doing this. And it was all about clicks and views. All about clicks and views. And for Chris, a lot of money. And I think for Jeannie and Mary, I really do think when Don's dad said he would sell his house to help him look for Summer, they panicked. And this is what they came up with.
They were saying that was happening when I was 3 years old. When I was 3, I was living with my mother. And I can't remember exactly who all was living with us at the time, but I do know at the time I was being molested by 3 different people. I was being molested by a half-brother of mine, a foster brother that my mom adopted off the street, and a family member from my step aunt's side of the family. She's Debbie's son or something like that. That'd be Mary and Jenny, whatever her name is.
So you no longer have contact with that family, because the step family.
I have not talked to them. I have not talked to any of them besides Jeannie and Trish and all them. They were about probably, I want to say about 10 years ago.
So 10 years ago, that's a long time. So it's safe to say that you pretty much kind of separated your core.
Yeah, I have not talked to them in years. The only one I can ever remember ever actually talking to was Jeannie, and that's because she had 3 kids.
Wow.
And honestly, I don't ever remember any of being nice to me at all.
I didn't leave the names on here, but I did look up Debbie's son, and he has a huge record. And Debbie's husband is the one that Mary says molested her from 8 years old to 13 years old. Thankfully, he's dead. But the son is still alive, and I can't tell you how long his record is.
I admitted to, and I apologize to her for that. But other than that, I'm not worried about it.
So we hear him talk about events that lasted over 7 years. From the age of the victim being 5 to 12. Don falls into the category, since he's been doing this since he was a child, admittedly, i.e. 12 to 19. Okay. Jeannie was 5 to 12. And Mary, of course, is in there.
I'm sorry, Don never admitted 12 to 19. From 17 to 19, he wasn't even there. So you're lying. And you're a piece of shit. I hope you're watching this. And to say he's done it all his life? Where's your proof? Who else? You first started out saying there were 7 women. Then there were 3. Then there were 3 cases. Now you have 2. 2 women. Jeannie and Mary. That's it.
Really? Well, we just proved something. We proved, not me, but the authorities, that you're a power reassurance predator.
What? What did the authorities prove? The authorities didn't prove anything. There's nothing going on with that case. You're scary.
That we know since Jeannie came forward, there were 6 more, or 5 more, counting Mary.
There's so many things being said out there, and I'm probably the only one that's been in contact with Donnie. Mm-hmm. You know, for the last 20 years or 30 years, his stepsisters haven't even talked to him. They don't even know him. And they're saying all this crap about him. And all the, you know, it's like, he was out here last summer for a few months. They may have seen him for 10 minutes, but other than that, it's been, 20 to 30 years since they've even seen him. And they're just saying all kinds of stuff that's not true. Apparently there's something that happened between him and Jeannie when they were kids. But it's not like this is a pattern. He never abused his own kids, they told me.
Yeah.
And nobody else. It's just like, so, there are just all these rumors out there that they're just not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I asked his son about it, and he says, like, what? Where in the hell did that come from? I says, you haven't been watching all the stuff on there, and he hasn't, because he don't, they've already attacked him. He don't want to be involved in it, and I don't blame him.
Yeah. I talked to him privately. He told me the same, that his dad, that Don barely spanked him as a kid, and that absolutely there was no inappropriate touching at all.
He's not a violent person. He never sexually did anything to him. No pattern here. I think he made mistakes when he was younger. he was a kid. But
Yeah.
it's not like there's a pattern of anything here. I know he would never touch his daughter. I know that.
I don't know. This whole thing, as she was asleep next to me, it comes back to the essay. There's things he doesn't want to talk about.
I just want to make, put the popcorn where it belongs here, okay, on the stove, okay, and cooking. So,
yeah, I'd like to shove the popcorn up your ass.
Okay.
Mary Howard is Dawn's sister, and she says CPS were coming to the kids from the home, coming to take the kids from the home the day Summer went missing. But it got delayed because of what happened to Summer. Oh my God. She was hours away from being safe. Now, she asks a question, right? And that's fine for her. What if, completely speculating, just asking a question. She says, what if Dawn and Candace knew CPS was coming that day and did something to Summer because CPS would be able to tell if she was abused?
There is no possible way Mary could know this. No possible way. And it wasn't true.
Comment from Just Breathe. I truly believe there's no rehabilitation for these offenders.
Sometimes I don't think there is either. I mean, a lot of people sit there and say, well, people can change. Well, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I still believe that, people, they grow older and wiser or smarter or whatever. But deep down inside, I think they're the same person they were 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I don't know.
And here's what Emily says to you. Mary, regardless of the outcome, you have looked the demon in the eye.
Do you believe that about your sister, Jeannie? Because she's a sex offender. I wouldn't personally want Jeannie to go to jail. But as far as fuck-upness, yeah, there was a lot of it. But you want to call Dawn a predator and a pedophile, which she wasn't. But Jeannie gets a pass. I cannot get past it.
Josh, it upsets Dawn when you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about Dawn's feelings.
Saying something like that is ridiculous.
What did I say?
You were insinuating that Dawn essayed his...
No, I didn't insinuate anything.
You must not have watched.
Come on,
that there was
Josh.
an allegation.
Really?
I didn't insinuate that.
Same thing about Mary, John.
Well, Roy Police Department sure believed her because they took in 1979, she filed for it. And then again, they asked Dawn about it many years later. So it's not just me.
About Mary's situation, right?
They certainly took a victim report and questioned Dawn about it.
Same thing about Mary, John.
Well, Roy Police Department sure believed her because they took in 1979, she filed for it. And then again, they asked Dawn about it many years later. So it's not just me.
About Mary's situation, right?
They certainly took a victim report and questioned Dawn about it.
Okay, yeah, she made a report. She went home. When her dad got there, he made her go back and retract the report. 45 years later, the Roy City Police Department questioned him. Wow.
How do you feel about what people are saying? What some YouTubers are saying that they're saying that Dawn molested her. How does she feel about that? I know you've talked to her about it.
Oh, she was mad. I know she said right now she can't talk about it.
Yeah.
That's because she's so upset.
Yeah.
About it. But when she calms down, she'll come on and tell you about it.
Okay. What do you think about Mary saying all that? Why does she think Mary is lying? Or why do you think Mary's lying?
Mary, I don't know. Mary said I would try to sell her my kids when Margie were like 2, but I never tried to sell my kids to nobody.
I don't like Pam. And I think she probably did try to sell Margie, not sell her, but Mary said she wanted to adopt her and she was going to give them money for Margie, which is illegal. Mary, that's trafficking. But then Dawn backed out or Pam backed out because they weren't going to be able to see her. I don't know who drew up those papers, but that's not how it's done.
Well, my dad never like lived outside of our house other than like prison and halfway house that I can remember. But if he did live anywhere else, it probably would have been his dad's house or something like that.
So as of right now, we are saying that your father, your father, in absolutely zero way, no way at all, has ever done anything to hurt you or violate you.
No way at all.
I'm apologizing.
But let's not believe Margie. And Margie didn't come out because of what's happening right now. Because of people like Benny Keys that calls her a liar. Because Josh told him something. Nobody but Margie and the three people that molested her know what happened. That's the way it is with all little girls that are molested. Only they know, and the person molesting them knows. Because the people they tell didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to clear that up about what happened between our parents when they first got together. My mom started babysitting for my stepdad and his wife, but they were having problems, as far as I can understand from what my dad has told me, that they were having problems before my mom even came into the picture. Because Donnie's mom, whether Donnie wants to admit it or not, was doing a lot of drugs and cocaine back then. And his dad was just getting fed up with it. And so he didn't want to be with her anymore, and he wanted a divorce. And then my dad told me that after my mom started babysitting, that they just fell in love with each other.
Yep.
And then Donnie's mom and dad got a divorce, and Donnie's mom got with Kelly, that was from Kentucky, and they got married immediately after they got divorced. And my mom and dad were still married up until I was 11 years old.
Mind you, again, this is a story being told to Mary. And Mary's repeating the fairy tale that was told to her by her mom or dad or both.
Oh, they had come over to the house one day and they were in her bedroom playing. And after they left, my daughter came out and said, "Little Margie told me that Donnie's been touching her." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, little Margie said that Donnie was touching her private area."
The only one I can ever remember ever actually talking to was Jeannie, and that's because she had 3 kids.
Wow.
And honestly, I don't ever remember any of being nice to me at all. So I don't know why I would have tried to talk to them about it. I think I would have talked to my Aunt Sonia before I would have talked to them.
No one's arrested. Even though CPS had been called, according to Mary, there's no record of anyone, Don, being arrested for this horrific abuse upon his children. I don't get it.
And I believe I told this to everybody when I was doing the live with Teresa. The school had called my mom because they were living in terrible, horrible conditions. And then last night when I was listening to your
Judgy McJudgerson talking about how someone else lives. Wait on it.
That's just great. So, I'm sure it sounds to me like there was stuff going on in that house that them kids are never going to talk about. I'm surprised that them kids even made it alive out of that house.
I mean, does it get richer than this?
Family was constantly calling CPS on Donnie and his first wife because we didn't agree with the way that they were raising their children, and the house was in terrible living conditions. The kids had scabies. It was a really bad situation, So when Donnie comes on and he starts talking about that and he says, "Oh, I'm lying," he's not. He's the one who's lying. We're not the ones lying. And yes, we did call CPS many, many times on him.
Scabies is mites, and it looks like a rash when you have them. And mites are pretty common when you keep a dirty house. They probably had a dirty house, and they had mites, scabies.
His 2 oldest had scabies also, or well, don't want to say also, because it hasn't come out about the younger boys, but that's just what I was told about the scabies. Is that Is that true?
Yes, that is true. Yes, their kids have scabies. Yes, that is very, very 100% true. And you could maybe even try and find the records because it was put in their school records because the school called my mom.
You can't.
Last night when I was listening to your live and, you know, she was saying that the kids had scabies. I was like, well, it seems like nothing has changed in that household in over 20, 30 years. So, but I really do think that Donnie was actually sexually assaulted by his stepdad. And he just don't want to tell anybody about it. And like I said, if you've been sexually assaulted, and especially if you're a man, it is so shameful. I'm sure there's not even anything Donnie wants to even say about that, if that's what happened to him.
It's so shameful. Why would it be shameful to Don? It would be shameful to whomever did it to him, like his stepdad. But that's not your story, Mary. If it happened, that's Don's story, not yours. But what we know for sure is your sister is a sex offender. Someone in your family, your older sister's husband, molested you for 5 years.
I talked to Josh for a couple hours one night, and he gave me a bunch of information about Margie that was available to him now, and it's heartbreaking.
I don't know what kind of fuckery this is about, but apparently Benny Keys and Tiffany Marie had some kind of thing going, then they didn't, and then he found out she was not who he thought she was, and I guess all hell broke loose, and now Benny Keys and Tiffany blew up her channel. It's gone or on private. I don't follow these two people. I follow Tiffany more than I do Benny, but apparently Benny took his channel down, and then now he's back, and now he is with John Crimes doing rap. I think John Crimes, this is just my opinion, sucks at music. I don't even get it. But okay, I think actually Benny is good. So they got together, and of course John Crimes cannot stand Tiffany. So I'm sure he said a ton of shit about Tiffany. I don't care what Benny says. I'm pretty sure John Crimes said, buddy, let me tell you about Tiffany. Then Josh starts telling Benny about Margie. Josh doesn't know Margie. Josh says he's got some kind of something proving that Don sexually molested or did something to Margie. No, you don't. You don't have a CPS report. You don't have any kind of arrest record, even a complaint, nothing that says Don had anything to do with Margie. So Benny Keys, I'm so disappointed that you would call her a liar.
There's some stuff that happened. And I don't want to get into that here because this is just not that. But it was like how John came in to me, into my scenario after that all happened. It was the same way Josh came to me after she put the video up, and it was with the information in regards to when she was younger. And you get the clear picture, right? When I hear the info, I'm like, okay, so she comes here and says, the dad didn't do anything to her. Sometimes when you say things, it doesn't make them entirely true, right?
No shit.
Right. Well, I have a few. The very first speculation, when I first heard that she went missing, my thought was, Donnie did it, okay? And the other thought that I went to was, he was waiting in the basement for her, okay? But then all this other stuff started coming out, and, you try and put pieces together and try and figure out what happened, and then there is a lot of trafficking going on, right there where he lives, and then I thought, well, maybe he did sell her, because Josh,
Based on what? Based on what you've heard? Based on that screwball story that he tried to sell his kids, he didn't try to sell his kids, he tried to give his kids away for drugs. That's what you're basing it on? A story that you all have a different story. You, Jeannie, I don't know. Your mom probably has a different story. But that's what you're basing, and what Chris McDonough has told you, provably told you, that you should say she was trafficked in the shed.
He came to Utah and he kept trying to get money from my dad and stuff, you know? And so I feel like he needed money. And when it didn't work out for him, like he planned on, which I think he planned on, you know, moving his family down here and into my mom and dad's house. And, you know, I think he planned that. But when that didn't fall through for him and he didn't get what he wanted, he had to go back to Tennessee.
Did your father have money to give him? Stepfather?
Not really. Not really, no. No, you know, and I mean, they had to take out a reverse mortgage on their home like 5 years ago just so they could keep up with their bills and pay their bills, you know? And
how much was he looking for, do you know?
I don't know, but he kept trying to push my dad into leaving him the house. I know that much.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not going to work with a reverse mortgage.
Right, you know, and, well, yeah, he'd have to come up with, I believe it's like $89,000 just to pay off the reverse mortgage, you know? So, Donnie sits and says, well, my evil stepsisters, that's what he calls us.
Yeah, real clever.
Why would he try to get money from your dad when your dad has no money? You can go and look at the deeds to that house, and your family members have taken out money from the trust. You can see what's going on. So, was he trying to borrow money? But y'all had borrowed money? I understand Trish borrowed $2,000, her name's on there, and never paid it back.
He thinks that we want the house or something. That's why we're coming out with all these allegations and everything. And Donnie calls it the estate. My dad's estate, he was going to leave me the estate. And it's like, what estate? The house was falling apart. The house was falling apart when they bought it in 1977. You know, and it's really bad now. I mean, the pipes don't work. I mean, when you turn the water on, the water dribbles, okay? And that's the amount of the pressure. And, you know, they've got tons of rats and stuff and mice all over the house. And, you know, I mean, they've been trying to get rid of them too, but it's really hard when you're, you know, pretty much on your deathbed. You know, you can't do much.
This is the saddest thing I've heard in a long time. This is so sad. Her parents, one that's had dementia or something wrong mentally since she was a teen, and her dad's on his deathbed. He's been on his deathbed for a year. And they have no water. They have rats and roaches, and they can't do anything because they're elderly. And they have 6 kids. 9 kids between them. 9 kids. And they have trees growing in their bedroom. That's elder abuse. And you are all pieces of shit that's happening. Honestly.
I mean, I believe my dad even told him, well, if you want me to, I will sell my house and give it all to you. Because Summer went missing. You know, so I don't know. I don't know why my dad does that.
Really?
And thus, the problem.
That's not at all Heels in the Air. I'm not saying she's lying at all. I'm putting the blame on Dawn, not her. If you're not, I mean, if you would take, maybe if you would stop making all these like videos that are full of bullshit, you would have time to listen. I can't figure you out, Heels in the Air. One second you're like, cool. The next second you're not. A lot of you guys think with your emotions, or you know, you think about what the person is saying, like who's saying it. Oh, I don't like the person, so I'm going to disagree with them, or everything they say, I'm just going to shoot down. That's not how it works in this world. Okay, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but it's just it's easy to see. We've seen it. It's for almost 2 years. Dawn has been trying to get Margie to talk. Okay, that is just the truth. That is not putting down Margie. I thought she sounded scared. I felt bad for her because I feel like she was pressured. That is not putting Margie down. That's her father putting her in that position. Take it out on him. I'm so tired of people kissing Dawn's ass and Candace like we haven't seen this bullshit for almost 2 years. So I get so sick of people just following a crowd because they think it's a cool thing to do. We're 40, 50 years old, people. This isn't high school. We don't have to fit in with each other. It's obvious to see. He has, and if you don't know that, then you haven't been following the case. Because he has very much been trying to get Margie to speak out. I don't know how anybody wouldn't know that. Especially some of the people that were like, Yeah, she was Christian. It's not anything that really, we can't call Mary a liar or whoever a liar because of what Margie said on this phone call that we know damn well that Dawn was pressuring her into freaking doing.
Why are you so mad that she spoke out? Why does Mary get to speak out? Why does Jeannie get to speak out? They're talking about Margie. It's the same reason you feel like you need to buck up to everyone that mentions your name. You bucked up to me, and all I did was make a simple statement in your chat. Why can't I speak out? Have a great weekend. I love every one of you, and blowing kisses. See you later. Bye.